equations in one variable. This is already part 3 of a series of videos introducing solving variables in linear equations. In parts 1 and 2 of this video series, we used either addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division properties to solve for variables. In this video, we will be using more than one of these properties to isolate variables. But before we continue, it is assumed that you already watched parts 1 and 2, which discussed these properties. And by answering those exercises, you already have acquired the basic skills on how to use these properties. Don't worry though, we'll still try to explain some of these previous topics naman as we go along, so okay lang. You can click the links in the description below to go to specific parts of the video. Although I highly recommend watching every example as you may learn something from each one of them. Before going to our topic, let's quickly recall first solving for x using the properties we learned. Now, let's say we're given x plus 2. Take note of our aim, and that is to always isolate the variable. That's how you solve it. Now, that means we don't want plus 2 here. Istorbo yan. So, how do you remove that? Let me copy first x plus 2. Now, to remove plus 2, we have to counteract it. So, anong opposite ng plus 2 to counteract? Minus 2. Now, you did minus 2 to the left. Para equal pa rin, we have to do minus 2 to the right as well. And that is by using the subtraction property of equality. Now, therefore, on the left side, we only have x left. And on the right, simplify 3 minus 2 is 1. And there you have it. That's how you solve for x. Next, example number 2. X minus 1 is equal to 5. Our aim is to isolate x. We don't want minus 1 here. How do we remove minus 1 then? Copy first x minus 1. Counteract minus 1, and that is plus 1, so that later we'll be able to cancel it. So anong gagawin natin sa right side? You did that to the left plus 1. To be fair, let's add 1 to the right side. It's the addition property of equality. So cancel minus 1 plus 1 and end up with just x on the left side. And simplifying the right side, we have 6. And that's it. That's how you get x. Now, there is a shortcut for the subtraction and the addition property of equality. However, we will be going back to that later. Now, let's try and solve 2x equals 4. We want to isolate x here. Now, the key here is what connects 2 and x? It's multiplication. We need to counteract multiplication. And how do we do that? Let me copy first 2x. To counteract multiplication, we have to divide this by 2. So that later we'll be able to cancel 2 divided by 2. We end up with just x. Now, we did that to the left side. Therefore, to be fair, let's do that to the right side as well, divided by 2. It's the division property of equality. So cancel 2, we end up with just x on the left side. And on the right side, simplifying, we have 2. And there you have it. We have the value for x. Last example, we have x divided by 3. We have to remove 3, counteract division by 3, edi let's multiply by 3. Opposite of division. You did that to the left side, you also do that to the right side, multiply 3 as well. Therefore, we are using the multiplication property of equality. Now, canceling 3 over 3, it's 1. We end up with just x on the left side, it's equal to 18. Now, we have solved using multiplication and division properties. Again, just like the first 2 examples, we have a shortcut, but later we'll try and recall them. Linear equations in one variable, though, are usually more complicated than that. Now, in those cases, we use a combination of more than one property. Actually, the usual steps are, una, simplify the left and right side of the equation. Pwedeng i-combine yung like terms or you use distributive property. Then second, use addition or subtraction property. So, ang shortcut niya, transposition. And finally, yung multiplication or division property. Or ang shortcut niya, cross multiplication. Let's have some examples para maintindihan natin. Let's answer the first example. 3x minus 9 is equal to 15. Now take note of our ultimate goal, that is to isolate x on one side of the equation. In this case, yung x natin is already on the left side, so let's isolate it on the left side. We left our steps sa baba para meron tayong guide. Now let's look at the first step. It's to simplify the left and right side. On the left side of the equation, we notice there are unlike terms. Therefore, this is already simplified. Yan na yan. And the right side is 15. Therefore, it cannot be simplified anymore. First step done. Now, let's start with isolating x. Now, if you look at x, parang mahirap kaagad na i-isolate siya. Can we move to a more achievable goal? At least, let's isolate the whole term, 3x. So, how do you do that? We have negative 9 sa katabi niya, which we can remove. Istorbo kasi. Now, how do we remove that minus 9 there? Let's copy first our whole term, 3x. And then, minus 9. If we want to isolate 3x, remove negative 9, edi counteract natin, let's add 9 so that later we can cancel. Next, on the right side, we copy 15. However, we added 9 to the left side. Therefore, to be fair, let's also add 9 to the right side. And this is by using the addition property of equality. So, tanggalin na natin, negative 9 plus 9 cancel. Therefore, we were able to isolate the whole term 3x, and on the right side, 15 plus 9 is equal to 24. But we're not yet done. Meron pa tayong istorbong 3 this time. Pero at least, meron ng chance that we can isolate x, correct? So, this is connected by multiplication. So, counteracting multiplication, we remove 3 by division. So, let me copy first. We have 3x, and then to remove 3, divide by 3, so that later we can cancel 3. But you did that to the left side. Para fair, also do that to the right side. And then finally, we were able to isolate x, and it's equal to 24 over 3, and that is equal to 8. So as you can see, madali lang, we just follow the steps. Simplify the left and right side, and then usually, we use addition and subtraction property as the second step to remove the constant. And then, lastly, we use the division property to remove this 3 to simplify further and isolate yung x natin. Now, medyo mahaba yung solution natin. So, we know, of course, that addition and subtraction property has a shortcut, and that is transposition. So, let's try and solve this another way, faster. So, we have 3x minus 9 is equal to 15. We want to remove minus 9. So, to do that, let us transpose it. Move it from the left side to the right side of the equation. So, we were able to immediately isolate 3x on the left. Now, copy 15. However, when moving from one side to the other, you reverse its sign from minus. It will now become plus. Now, this saved us some time. Now, we have on the left side just 3x. Simplifying the right side, it's of course 24. And then again, we remove this 3 kasi istorbo siya. By division, we have divided by 3, cancel 3 there, leaving us just with x, and the answer is equal to 8. So we get the same answer using the shortcut transposition to isolate 3x initially. Now, we have shown two ways of solving our example here. So we have this first method, and then a shortcut using transposition to isolate the term 3x. Now, question, do you think you can do this mentally? Actually, you can. If you use our second method, you really don't need to write anything. On your mind, isipin nyo lang, remove minus 9 first. So what you can do mentally is, you know that we should transpose this. So let's do that. 15 minus 9 becomes plus. 15 plus 9 is equal to what? 24, correct. Therefore, 24 ang natira sa right side. And then, you want to remove 3 there, so you divide by 3. So, 24 divided by this 3 is equal to 8. And there you have it. You can do it mentally. X quickly is simply equal to 8. Let's answer example number 2. We want to isolate x. So, first step, we have to remove itong istorbong plus 6 na ito. And how do you do that? Copy first, we have 2x plus 6. And then counteract plus 6 to isolate 2x. So minus 6 using the subtraction property. You did that to the left side. You also do that to the right side para equal pa rin. So cancel 6 minus 6, you end up with just 2x on the left side, and simplifying the right side, it's 4. Ang dali na after, because you want to remove 2 multiplied by x, to counteract that multiplication, we divide both sides by 2. Doing that, divide this by 2. On the right side, you do that as well. 4 divided by 2 then on the right side. So canceling 2, we only have x on the left side, and of course the answer is equal to 2. You can always check your answer by substitution. But you want to make it faster. Huwag ka nang mag-subtraction property. From the start, transpose na kaagad, leaving 2x on the left side, and on the right side, this plus 6 reverses its sign. It becomes minus 6. So we have 2x is equal to 4. And then, ang dali na after, we want to remove 2. So divide this by 2, divide this by 2, we end up with x is equal to 2. There you have it. That's how you quickly answer. Now, more importantly, can you do this mentally? Because ito, kaya naman, medyo mahaba lang. Ito, kaya din, mas mabilis by transposition to isolate 2x. Pero malay mo, you can do this mentally. Of course you can. Immediately on your mind, transpose. So 10 plus 6 becomes minus 6. 10 minus 6 is 4. Then 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. And there you have it. You get the same answer. And you can do it mentally this time. So speaking of doing things mentally, try nga natin tong number 3. Can we do this on our mind lang? So we want to isolate x here. 5x minus 1 is equal to 14. So, what we want to do is transpose that on our mind. 14 minus 1 becomes plus. 14 plus 1 is 15. And then 15 divided by 5 is 3. Therefore, the answer is 3. Aba, kayang-kaya palang mag-solve mentally. So, you're now ready for some exercises. Solve for the variables in the following equations. You can use any of the method we just presented. And maybe some of you can do this mentally na. Don't forget that it's a good habit to check your answer by substituting the variable in the original equation. Pause this video now to try them. Kaya yan, go! Here are the answers. You may have used a different method, but we should have the same answer. Ano, gets niyo ba? Let me show you another way of solving these type of equations. Let's go back to example number 1. So we're trying to solve 3x minus 9 is equal to 15. What we did in our example is, you immediately isolate the whole term 3x by transposing minus 9. So magiging plus 9. Now, what if we want to immediately remove 3 instead? Now, how do we remove 3? Of course, 3 is connected by this by multiplication. So, why not try to divide this by 3? Divided by 3 din ang right side. Now, yon ang problema. Take note, our properties of equality are saying that when you do one thing on one side, you do it to the whole side. Meaning, dapat yung divided by 3 kasama pati si minus 9. So let me try and do that again. So we want to remove 3. To counteract multiplication by 3, you divide the whole left side and right side by 3. Now, we want to cancel 3 here. Unfortunately, you can't do that, and it's a common mistake. Take note, 3 does not belong to 3x only, it belongs to negative 9 as well. So how do we simplify this then? I-split up mo. We have 3x divided by 3 minus 9 divided by 3. Pag-aari po ng 3x and minus 9 yung 3. Why not simplify 15 over 3 already? It's equal to 5. Now, simplifying further, cancel 3. X minus 9 divided by 3 is 3 is equal to 5. And finally, we can transpose negative 3. We end up with x, 5, plus 3. Therefore, x is equal to 8, ending up with the same value as this one. Although, medyo it's a crazy way of doing this, pero pwede. Now, let's look at example number 3. While example number 1 kayang isolve madali lang, paano kaya kapag ganito? Let's look at example number 3. Let me copy again. 5x minus 1 is equal to 14. We want to remove 5 immediately, so divide the whole left side by 5. So split it up. We have 5x divided by 5 minus 1 divided by 5 equals 14 over 5. Oh no, we have a problem. Fraction! Naku, paano yan, sir? Ang hirap nang isimplify. Hindi na exact. Don't worry. It should work pa rin. Let's simplify muna. We have x minus 1/5 is equal to 14 over 5. So we want to isolate x. Remove minus 1/5 by transposing. So doing that, on the left side, we only have the variable x left. And on the right side, we now have 14 over 5 minus 1/5 becomes now 1/5 plus. So in the end, we have 14 plus 1, it's 15. Copy the common denominator 5. X is equal to 3. It's actually the same. But then again, it's a crazy way of doing this. Mas madali, mag-transpose ka muna, isolate our term here, and then remove the numerical coefficient. Wala lang, I just showed you another way of solving. Let's look at another set of examples. Let's say we're asked to solve for x in example number 4. Now, to solve this, the first thing to do is, what's that again? Yes, it's to simplify both the left and right side first. Now, notice we have a quantity here, x plus 2. Therefore, we can distribute 4 muna. So, let me do that. Distributing 4, we now have 4 times x is 4x. Plus 4 times 2 is 8. And it's equal to 12. Now, does this look more familiar to you? Yes, kaya na nga nating i-mentally compute to by using our technique in the previous examples. However, sige, let's show how we do this. So, we don't want 8 here. Isolate 4x first, transpose. On the right side, we now have 12 plus 8. Reverse its sign, it becomes minus 8. And on the left side, we only have 4x. Simplifying the right side, we have 12 minus 8 is 4. This is 4x. We isolate x by counteracting its multiplication by 4. To do that, the division divided by 4 divided by 4. We cancel 4, we end up with x, and it's equal to 1. Now, of course, again, it's a good habit to always try and substitute to check your answer. So, 1 plus 2 is 3 times 4 is 12. Our answer must be correct. Now, this is only one way of doing it. Let me show you another. Let's say we're given the same problem. What we did here was distribute this muna. But if you notice, we are multiplying 4 by this whole quantity. Maybe we can immediately counteract multiplication by 4 by dividing by 4. Take note, we divide the whole left side and the whole right side by 4. Now, doing that, we cancel 4 here. Pwede mong gawin yon because 4 is the multiplier of the whole thing. So, we end up with just x plus 2. And the right side, 3. Ay, ang bilis na. We now transpose positive 2 to isolate x here, and it's equal to 3 plus 2 becomes reverse minus 2. In the end, x is equal to 3 minus 2 or 1. Therefore, you get the same answer. So this is method B. Now, here are two ways. Kahit saan ang gamitin natin, pwede. But, if you want to do things mentally, you might want to use method B. Ha, sir, pwede? Yes, of course. It's much easier. Subukan natin. We want to isolate x plus 2 first. We don't want 4. So we know we should divide 12 by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. Then we don't want this. Transpose. Plus 2 becomes minus 2. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. Minus 2 is equal to 1. In the end, you get the answer quickly. The answer is 1. Of course, it takes more practice to be able to do this mentally. Let's have another example to precisely practice this new method. Last example, example number 5. We're asked to solve for x. Of course, we know our first instinct would tell us to distribute this. No problem with that. Pwede lang. So we have 2x minus 2 times 3 is 6 equals 4. Now, what we can do next is isolate 2x. We can now transpose negative 6 to the left side. We now have 2x only on the left. On the right side, minus 6 now becomes plus 6. Therefore, 2x on the left and 10 on the right side. Now, we don't want 2 here. What connects them? It's multiplication. So, counteract that with division by 2. Division by 2. Cancel 2. We only have x on the left. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So, that is the answer, which we can check by substituting 5 in this variable. Now, this is only method A. Let's try. Now, what if you instead decide to remove this 2 first, since this 2 is being multiplied to the whole x minus 3. So do that by dividing by 2 the whole left side as well as the right side. Cancel 2, we end up with just x minus 3. And on the right side, 2. Now this is so easy. Transpose negative 3. X on the left, we have 2 minus 3 becomes plus 3 on the right side. So we have 2 plus 3. Simplifying, x is equal to 5. You now have the same answer. Now, again, what if we try to do this mentally? Doing that, we have 4, divide that by 2. It's 2. And then, transpose minus 3, it becomes plus 3. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Plus 3 is equal to 5. You get the same answer, but much faster. Now, before we go to our final set of exercises, notice that the equal signs are always aligned. Lahat yan dito, more or less, they are always aligned. The reason for that is para makita natin when we are transposing or not. It's critical to see when we move from one side of the equation to the other so that we know whether we are transposing or not. Therefore, we know when to reverse the sign or not. So it's a good habit to always align them. Actually, that's what you see in books. Always align equal signs. On to our exercises. Here are some more exercises. Solve for the variable in the following equations. You can use any of the methods we presented. Pause this video now to try them. Kaya yan, go! Here are the answers. Nakuha nyo ba? Did we use the same method? Here are the last set of exercises. Solve for the variable in the following equations. Careful, the values here are a little more tricky. Again, you can use any of the methods we presented. Pause this video now to try them. Kaya yan, go! Here are the answers. Nakuha nyo ba? I hope you learned a lot. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy solving!